Good morning, students. Today we are going to study about the resource and development, which satisfy the human needs. Something which can be used to satisfy our needs is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable is referred to as resources. And we know that human beings are um, around all the resources natural resources, technological and institutional resources. Today we are going to study about all these resources. Two things: recyclable and non-recyclable. Means if the non-renewable resources are there, they have some recyclable resources also there and non-recyclable resources also there. We will study it and the further slides. Next, we have human resources. Human resources are have two classifications. Like first one is structures and institutions, and quantity and quality. So we will further we have the resources have been classified in on various bases, on the basis of existability. So on the basis of existability, we have renewable and non-renewable resources, which we can study in our further slides. So next one is on the basis of origin. Origin means like how the resources are come in the environment. So biotic and abiotic resources. We will further study these two terms also. Next is on the basis of ownership, like individual resources, some are the community resources, national resources, and the international resources. Okay, so we will study about all these resources. First one is the renewable resources. So what are the renewable resources? So renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed or recycled or reproduced by physically or chemical processes are known as renewable resources. Like what are the renewable resources? Renewable resources are those which we can reproduce or we can recreate them. So for example, forests, solar energy, wind energy, and water energy also, etc., and other things are also there. So these are the renewable resources. Next one is our non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources, as the name suggested, are those resources which can take millions of years in their formation and cannot be renewed or reproduced, are known as non-renewable resources, like coal, petroleum, natural gas, fossil fuels, and etc., which cannot be renewed or which cannot be reproduced after they are finished. Okay, once they are finished, they take lots of years to regenerate. So these are the non-renewable resources. Next one is biotic resources. What is biotic resources? Biotic resources are means these are obtained from the biosphere and have life, such as human beings, flora, faunas, and fisheries, living livestock, etc. like mainly we can say that biotic resources are the living things, mainly means human beings, okay, and fishes and the forest, plants, etc. These all are come into the biotic resources. Next one we have community owned resources. Community owned resources means like are those resources which are managed by all the members of the community, like grazing grounds, burial grounds, and public parks, picnic spots, etc. Like we can say that if we can say that like there is a village and all the villagers um, take their cows and their buffaloes to graze in a ground, so they have their own particular ground, grazing ground. It's like, okay, so this is the their community resource. And we can say that if there is a society, then they have their own park, playing parks, which where their children can play. So these all are the community owned resources, we can say that their own property. Next one we have national resources. National resources, as name suggested, are those resources which are related to a particular nation, means for a particular country. Land resources are within the political boundaries, and oceanic resources up to the 12 nautical millions. Like natural resources, we can say that those resources which the nation have, the bridges, the rivers, and the forest and the bridges, etc. They all resources are for the nation's use. Nation people can use those resources. So the resources which are used by the people of the nation only, this is called the national resources. Minerals, forest, wildlife, oceans, etc. All these are the examples of this natural resources. Next one we have the international resources. So international resources are those resources which are managed by international institutions. We cannot manage them. We have only the right to use, but on some terms and conditions we can use those resources. Okay, because only we are not the owner of that property or the resources. Other nations are also involved um, in that resources. They also have the rights to use the resources. Okay, so they belong to various nations of the world. So it's clear. So for example, like ocean resources, oceanic resources, petroleum, etc. All these are examples of international resources. So next is like we studied about the resources. Now resources, we know that resources are not for long time. We have to manage, and we have to use in a proper way. So we have to save them for our future generation. So to save them, what we can do, we can use in a proper way and don't waste, by not wasting them, we can save them. Okay. So development of resources, how can we develop our resources? It is a process of developing the resources in order to take them useful for satisfying human wants. Some resources cannot be used directly. They have to be processed to make them useful for the satisfying our needs, wants. Uh, so there are examples. There are some examples. Land has to be clear for production of the crops. If a farmer want to grow crop, they have to clean the ground first. After that, they can grow some crops on that. Like more examples we can say. So next one is sustainable economical development. Sustainable economic development is what? The economic development which does not damage the environment and at the same time take care of the needs of the future generation is called sustainable development. You know that what is sustainable development? Sustainable development is that we have to use our resources in a appropriate manner so that our future generation can also get the benefit of our resources. This is called the sustainable development. Means using the resources in a proper and appropriate manner without wasting them. Sustainable development is important because in many ways, because many of the resources are non-renewable. You know that many of the resources we use are what? Non-renewable and exhaustible. Over exploitation of these resources will affect the needs of our future. And extra environmental pollution become a major threat to our survival of the humans. We know that. Okay, so this is